ECIC, your export risk partner.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Focus On. I'm Morwick Pietersen. Today the spotlight falls on the African Continental Free Trade Area and specifically how it influences the operation of the ECIC in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Ethiopia. As a bit of background before we get into the topic, the Export Credit Insurance Corporation, or the ECIC, provides political and commercial risk insurance cover to South African lenders that finance export trade to other countries in Africa and elsewhere in the world. ECIC may insure the exporter directly and also provides political risk insurance to South African investors that makes cross-border investments. Mandisi Nkuhlu, Chief Operating Officer at ECIC, is joining me now to expand on the AFCFTA discussion. Welcome, Mandisi. Good to have you on the show today.
Good morning, Morwick. How are you?
Good, thank you. Mandisi, recently the ECIC mandate has been extended to cover short-term trade transactions with the aim to enhance the role of ECIC in supporting South African companies to take advantage of the new business opportunities arising for the creation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Give us a bit of background on ECIC and what role does it play in assisting South African companies to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area?
Thanks. ECIC is a state-owned company within the DTIC family with a specific mandate to facilitate export trade between South Africa and the rest of the world. However, we have a strategic focus on the African continent. And historically, our business has been to support more capital goods. And that tended to be medium to long-term loans that are used to finance such transactions. Now, as you've highlighted more recently, our mandate has just been expanded. Now we can support short-term trade transactions, which are smaller sized transactions. I think this is relevant because it will enhance our role in supporting intra-Africa trade in the light of this African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Thanks.
Mandisi, can you then please elaborate on the expanded mandate of ECIC?
Definitely. I think historically we've been supporting cross-border investments and capital goods exports. What has been changed now, the focus is expanded beyond just capital goods exports. So non-capital goods exports can be supported with a strong focus on a number of sectors where the DTIC has concluded master agreements, master plans. So I think this now enables us to support shorter term transactions. So it widens the scope of companies in South Africa that will be eligible for ECIC insurance products.
And then what is the geographic footprint of ECIC in Africa? And which regions is ECIC targeting for growth?
I think we've had historically a strong presence in the SADC region. And over the years, we've been increasing our foothold in West Africa. But there's a greater potential to grow in East Africa and also Francophone countries.
Mandisi, with that said in mind, can you then explain the specific focus, on the DRC and Ethiopia?
Starting off with the DRC, DRC is part of the SADC community. And South Africa has strong political and diplomatic relations with the DRC. And it's important that we take advantage of that and enhance the business relations as well. So we've had presence in the DRC, but we see it as a gateway to Francophone-speaking countries on the African continent. So that's part of the rationale, to the extent that we can fashion our products to be more responsive in those areas which are French-speaking on the African continent. That will be a new area of growth for the company. As regards Ethiopia, it's part of the drive to support export trade in East Africa. And Ethiopia is the second most populous country on the African continent. If we can make a breakthrough there, that will be great for South African companies. Already we have some presence in Ethiopia, but there's room to escalate that presence further. Thank you.
Now, what challenges is the ECIC experiencing or rather anticipating in these markets?
It's an interesting one. Whilst we do emphasize the opportunities, not as if there are no challenges in going to these specific geographies, because both the DRC and Ethiopia, they are conflict-ridden countries. For many years now, the east side of the DRC has been prone to conflict. And one still has to navigate, because these are big countries. It does not mean the entire country then is off limits. There are certain parts of the regions of the country where there's still good business to be done. And that's one of the challenges we've been facing. Even more recently, Ethiopia has had the civil conflict. But I think there are projects that are still workable despite those specific challenges in those countries. Thank you.
And then also, Mandisi, how does the ECIC market its products offerings to South African stakeholders in creating better awareness and accessibility for South African businesses?
Well, we have a marketing and communications team which uses the traditional platforms for marketing, TV, newspaper. We have conferences where we have knowledge speakers who can speak on different topics to access industry players. But more importantly, we have a business development team, which is a proactive deal originating team that goes to clients and seeks to expand then the number of clients that get to know about ECIC products. It's a wide-ranging approach that we use.
Mandisi, we're coming to the conclusion of our conversation, but is the African Continental Free Trade Area a reality or is it a pipe dream?
It's becoming a reality. It's going to be a long journey, but baby steps are being taken to move towards it becoming a reality. Quite recently, I think last week, the Secretariat, which is responsible for the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, concluded an adjustment fund with Afrexim Bank, which is meant to be used to compensate countries as they suffer losses from the tariff adjustments. So that is a positive step towards making this thing a reality.
As this is now becoming a reality, Mandisi, what would you then say is the future of, the future plans for the ECIC going forward, as this is now becoming somewhat of a reality?
I think for us is to get more closer to the exporters, especially the smaller ones and the potential new entrants, and educate them about the opportunities that exist on the rest of the continent. And then working also in close collaboration with the financial institutions, IDC and commercial banks. And then through that South Africa Inc. approach, we can take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you to my guest, Mandisi Nkuhlu, Chief Operating Officer at ECIC, and to all our viewers, it's goodbye for now.